So I stopped by the protest today. I'm sweaty, it's almost 90 degrees, and I was interested. I did want to be a part of something that's very historical regardless of what I feel about protesting. I feel like right now it's like worldwide, it's historical. We ain't never seen protesting on this level ever in history. Especially for black people, excuse me. And one thing I noticed that I wanted to see for myself, these protests are majority Caucasoids. Majority, especially in Brooklyn. I don't know about anywhere else, but Brooklyn, majority Caucasians, aka Caucasoids. It looks nice. I feel like so-called white people created racism. They created this whole concept of race, which really doesn't exist anyway. They tricked the world, and I don't mean the everyday Caucasian. No, we're not talking about the Caucasians of today. I mean, the politicians in the system does continue this made-up concept that was created, I don't know, 500 or so years ago. And they continued the narrative, but no. I just feel like the ones that were benefited from this creation of racism and separatism and all of that, the ones that benefited should fucking fix the issue, because you kind of did create it. Maybe your ancestors did. Maybe, all right, so I wanted to go over 5 things that I think white people should do, because here's my opinion, right? Protesting is great. I feel like some of y'all just clout chasing. Some of y'all are just in them streets just to say, like, 5 years from now, oh yeah, I'm not a racist. I walked in the Black Lives Matter protests. I can't be racist. You know, I did my duty. I walked in the protest. I walked for 3, 4, 5 miles, even though you probably jog that on a regular anyway, because y'all Caucasians like to run. But, you know, I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a clout chase. Like, y'all just want to say, yeah, I'm down to fighting the system. I walked in protest and held up signs that said Black Lives Matter. That is not going to fix racism. The system of racism is hundreds of years old, maybe 1,000 years old. And just holding up signs for a few weeks is not going to fix the problem. Hopefully it makes more people aware that weren't aware before. But so instead of criticizing, I want to give my suggestions based off of my knowledge, my history, my historical knowledge, my study. First of all, you got to learn the proper history. You were taught white supremacist history. The winners, the people who won the wars and told the narrative. They got to win the wars and steal the artifacts, make sure there was no lineage or no historical evidence of black greatness. So you got to learn proper history. You got to learn the full story and understand that humans been around, Africans been around, I don't know, 150,000 years before there was ever a Caucasoid on the planet. So you got to learn that. Watch Hidden Colors. I think that's the best documentary to learn proper black history. There are plenty of black scholars in there that even if you don't necessarily fuck with Tariq Nasheed or whatever, he has black scholars in there that are real doctors that are in that documentary. Some of them aren't even alive anymore. And you can learn real history and real, you know, black history, especially if you watch Hidden Colors. Followed up by The 13th. The 13th was on Netflix. Hopefully it still is. Learn about the 13th Amendment and how, you know, because I grew up in Montclair, you know, there's white people out there. And, you know, I've seen some people say shit like, oh, you know, you're talking about slavery. That was 1,000,000 years ago. Nah, like, we're talking post-slavery shit. So the 13th Amendment, which was post-slavery, learn about that and how black men were just sent right to jail and prison after slavery. So, yeah, Hidden Colors, 13th Amendment. Watch all that uncomfortable truth. I know the cognitive dissonance is going to kick in and you're going to be like, no, that's not true. Well, more than likely some racist white historian, teacher, professor, whatever, taught improper, one-sided white history, and definitely didn't include, you know, the sides, all sides, you know, the whole story. Bam. I'm gonna help black people in my life. Black lives matter, right? I'm a black man all my life. It's not trendy for me. It's not like something I'm gonna go out here and protest for a day or two. This is something I walk in and live in every single day. And one thing I do know, we're talking post-slavery now, the real estate. So even before gentrification, there was a thing called redlining. And this is something probably your parents, if you're over my age, more than likely your parents took part in it, or your grandparents took part in it, I should say. And look up redlining, look up what happened, look up how, even if your parents and grandparents weren't necessarily a racist, they probably just followed the code of these racist politicians and leaders when it came to redlining neighborhoods and creating the ghettos. A lot of people like to say, oh, look how black people are living in their ghettos and this, that, and the other. Like, I think some people are just dumb and they just think that, like, I guess, just very simple, very surface. And you just see a ghetto, you're just like, why are they living like that? They shouldn't be living like that. And you don't really think deeper. You're not a deep person, so you don't think like, why? What caused this ghetto? What created this ghetto? It wants to be born into a ghetto, but a ghetto is created. It's kind of like an experiment. Experiment, projects, it's a project, it's an experiment. Learn about it. Learn about redlining, how that created ghettos in Newark and Detroit and LA, in Dade County, Florida, in Virginia, and everywhere. Every single state followed this guideline, and everybody upped and moved and left. Some of your grandparents probably did. So again, you benefit from it. So learn from it. Figure out how you can counter it, because that's what's going to show me you really care. You want to counter what happened, redlining. And now we're talking about gentrification. It's funny as hell, like, I'm in these Brooklyn streets and I'm seeing white people protest and march for Black Lives Matter, but you're marching in the same streets that you gentrified. It kind of just bothers me. I don't think it's very genuine. I just think you're just trying to be cool and going with the crowd and just kind of like walking with the crowd. Do you really mean it? Do you really give a fuck about somebody that looks like me? I don't know. 3 strikes law. 90s, we're talking the 90s, good old 90s, Bill Clinton era, when the 3 strikes law was passed, and Hillary Clinton called us super predators, scared the living daylights out of people around America, and the 3 strikes law did worse to the black community than slavery did. It depleted our neighborhoods. The hoods were empty after the 90s. Men fighting for scraps in the underworld. That's what that creates. It creates ghettos. It creates fierce competition when there's not a lot to eat. Only the strong survive. It creates a jungle that was created. James Baldwin said, white people, why did you feel the need to create the Negro? Why did you need to create a nigger? You created the niggers. So, yeah. 3 strikes law, learn about that, learn who voted for it. Joe Biden voted for it. Bernie Sanders voted for it. Bernie apologized, from what I understand. Joe didn't. And Clinton apologized. But, you know, they're just pawns. We're talking pawns in a greater system. It is much deeper than police brutality. Police brutality is one aspect. Yes, I am a bit more nervous around police officers. I do know that it's usually if I'm in a group, which is some slave catching shit. Police were created to catch slaves. And I only feel in danger if I'm in a group of black men. The only time I've been arrested was when I was with a group of black men. But if I'm by myself, I'm not really on their radar. They're looking to break up groups of black men. So, yes, police brutality is a thing. 3 strikes is a thing. The judicial system is racist, just like the education system. If you really give a fuck about my life, investigate that. Look deeper. Look at what was done to the school system after like Jim Crow and like civil rights. They were like, yeah, okay, you know, we'll allow black people to go to the same schools or whatever. And something happened there. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert, but all I know is the school system is against black boys. Me as a black boy, I felt completely lost in that white-dominated school system, and they damn near wanted to put me in retarded classes. Just like a group of all of my black male friends, slow reading classes and whatnot. And the system was designed to completely destroy my self-esteem, and it did for a great majority of my life. So learn about the educational system and everything I'm listing right now. If you really care about racism, white people, and because I'm addressing y'all because y'all in these parades and these marches, investigate it, learn what you can do. I'm on a roll right now. I feel like a lot of my white friends and just white people in general I come across, they would say like, you know, I'd name like a couple things, you start feeling their guilt kick in and the sadness kick in, and the next question is, well, what can we do about it? You know, you're not qualified to even ask that question. You're not even qualified enough to ask what can we do about it. And that goes for some black people also. You don't even know the history enough. You don't even know what racism is probably. You're probably talking about prejudice when you're thinking racism. But racism is a system. It's more than just me thinking that because you're Jewish, you're cheap, or because you're Chinese, you can't drive. That's prejudice. That's like, but that's not going to stop you from getting a job. That's my opinion about you isn't going to affect your life in any way. You know, those are opinions, those are prejudices, those are judgments. Racism is deeper than prejudice. So don't even ask what can we do if you don't even know what racism is, because you don't even know what you're talking about. You're asking what can we do about it. You don't even know what system you're dealing with. So get the knowledge first. Music industry. The music industry has been infiltrated and corrupted, I believe, in the 90s. Everybody that loves hip-hop, it's like they are making it one-sided. How about we push more of the conscious artists up forward? You know, I know you want to have fun and all of this stuff. I like to have fun and all of that too, but push for a more balanced hip-hop music that you just want to dance, get drunk, and do drugs to. We don't need no more Juice WRLDs and no more, you know, rappers dying from overdose and pushing the drug culture. Let's get some more Kendricks, you know, and you white people that run the hip hop industry and PRs and management and A&Rs and all of these Rs, representation. Represent the culture properly, and you probably have to learn about the culture to know how to represent it. Free therapy. That's a form of reparations. We deserve it. You want to march in these streets for weeks? Cool. Sign up a petition to give blacks free therapy for life. There's nobody that needs therapy more than black people. Nobody's went through what we went through. Nobody on the face of the earth. None. Nobody compares. Black people in Brazil, black people in Africa, black people in the Caribbean, black people in America, blacks in Puerto Rico, blacks in India. No one's gone through what we went through from having more melanin than other humans. We deserve free therapy and we need healing. But that's a whole deep thing, because you kind of pushed this religion thing on us and made us think the only way to heal is through Jesus Christ. So it's kind of hard for us, but we need more than that. We need more than religion. We need therapy. We need to get over our demons and our PTSD and our anxiety and our depression, bipolar disorders. We need to get over that stuff. And let's get black therapists too. There needs to be a system for that where we don't have to pay for that shit. We shouldn't have to pay for education because you stole the education. You took our history out of it. You took everything about us out of it, and you stole a lot. So I just think, yeah, we deserve free education, free therapy. That's just like minimal shit if you really care about us healing. Figure it out. Figure it out. Pool money together. I don't know. Start organizations and don't let them be corrupted by other white supremacists. All right. those are things that white people can do. And that's just off the top of the dome. I'm freestyling right now. And yeah, it's your boy Passport. Peace.
You dumb motherfuckers!